One of my favourite games on a Nintendo Wii was Blox. It was addictive, I like watching things explode, what more can I say? So when I saw Slaughter Cannon pop onto the Steam store at the beginning of this year, I picked it up at 40% off thinking, well, it's only a couple of quid, what's the worst that could happen? And whilst it does deliver on some destructive gameplay and it looks cool and the part, there's some odd design choices with this game that make it quite a tricky and cumbersome game to play, while still delivering some fun at the end of it. In Slaughter Cannon you have 40 different levels, and you're placed on the same hill with a cannon, and you've got two views that you can move between by pressing C on the keyboard. One is slightly off at like a 35-ish degree angle from your cannon so that you can see the structure that you're going to smash up in 3D. And then if you press C, then you'll move behind the cannon and you can see a straight on view. You have a certain amount of cannonballs and you'll aim it with the mouse and then you'll just click and it will fire out a cannon and you'll watch the destruction happen. The idea is that for the vast majority of the levels, you'll need to smash every single block to smithereens. However, where you hit the cannon and where it hits onto the actual structure will largely determine whether or not you're successful or not, as you'll be aiming for where blocks combine so that you can smash 2 or 3 of them at the same time, and then hopefully aiming towards the bottom usually of structures so that the whole thing crumples and collapses and explodes. There's a couple of really key issues with the way how this game is set up that make it a little bit too hit and miss for its own good. The first of these comes down to the 2 different views that you get. As structures collapse, you find that blocks fall quite a large height and don't necessarily explode or shatter or crack. And so you're left there thinking, well, it's fallen behind all of this rubble and I can't see where the block is that I'm trying to get. And so quite a few of my tries with this game, I couldn't actually get to physically see where the blocks were that they'd landed. They'd fallen behind bushes, they'd rolled down a hill, they were just out of view or trapped behind rubble. And that kind of puts you into a game over state. The other thing is that neither of these views sometimes offer up a satisfactory view for you to even be able to aim properly. It's missing like an overhead view or the ability to just rotate the camera around 360 degrees so that you could see what was going on. And that really limits whether or not you can make a game and a playthrough work or not. This then combines with the fact that whilst it's beautiful to watch everything shatter into loads and loads of pieces, the physics that are involved seem wildly inconsistent. Quite often, pieces of structure will just stay in one piece and they'll fall from the very top of the building and hit the floor and nothing will happen. Or you could just graze like a little piece of barrel or ladder with your cannonball and it will explode into smithereens, so will a wall, but there's no distinction between the different types of objects, so you'll need to smash up a ladder just as much as you'll smash up an entire building and they'll kind of react the same. It's not necessarily difficult, but it just means that it feels more pot luck rather than actually playing with proper strategy. And so I ended up just aiming for where there were 90-degree angles so that I could hit 2 things at once and hope that it all twisted and fell apart. And that seemed to get me through the game. My last complaint is that the difficulty curve for this game is like a yo-yo that goes up and down, and actually the game gets easier the further you get into it because the structures and the big buildings and the fortress levels all crumple much easier than some of the ones where it's just like bricks and stone statues standing up with pillars. The other problem is that the last 10 levels of the game were hugely buggy, and so the whole fortress section kept on crashing to desktop over and over and over again, and I got angry and I didn't actually complete the last 3 levels of the game. I exited out of the game after wrestling with it over and over and over again, and it wiped my entire progress, and I didn't feel bothered enough to go back in and replay the game again. The game is short though. I completed all of those levels up to then within 40 minutes, and at full price I wouldn't recommend this game. At 40% off I still feel a little bit hard done by. I do like the idea of what this game is trying to do, but it's got weird design limitations on it that don't really sit comfortably with me as a gamer, because it's as if it's trying to be awkward on purpose, and I don't like that in a game that actually should be about explosive fun and smashing things to smithereens with as much ease, glee and happiness as you could possibly have. Written review will be over on higherplayinggames.com. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.